So the last time I came to you from here, we talked about cryptocurrencies and a bunch of other weird shit. But this time it's going to be different. This time we're doing a new terrible tangent. That's also what I'm going to be calling these. They're Alex's terrible tangents. They don't have any real structure other than they're a tangent that I want to go on. So recently, as I normally do, I like to get my content from YouTube and Twitch. I like watching live Twitch streams and YouTube videos and stuff. I've been trying to find other things to watch. And I recently realized that the entire Disney Channel movie catalog from the 90s through to the mid-early 2000s is now available on Disney Plus. And so I decided I was going to watch those. And so I went and picked one of my, or not favorites, but one of the ones I remembered from childhood. To those of you who don't know what a Disney Channel movie is, you might know like a Hallmark movie. They're low budget, but they can get away with it because of the audience that they cater to. Where Disney Channel movies cater towards kids who don't know any better, Hallmark movies cater towards women who are way too drunk. It's an audience and it's exploited. But yes, Disney Channel movies are nice, low budget, normally comedies and oftentimes vague romantic comedies. The one we're going to be talking about today is titled Zenon, Girl of the 21st Century. Couple of notes. This movie came out in the 1990s, 1999 to be precise, and it shows its age wonderfully. Let's get right into it. I won't mess around anymore with the theory that I'm going to posit here. Zenon, Girl of the 21st Century, opens and introduces our main character, Zenon, a rambunctious, precocious little scamp who's living on a space station orbiting Earth. This space station is a science station where Zenon's parents and many other families are doing necessary scientific research and discovery. It's financed by a group called Windcom, and all of this is necessary information that you're given in the early parts of the movie. The introduction of Zenon, her friends, including her friend Nebula, who's played by Raven-Symoné, and just an understanding of what her life is. Her life being late to things, going to Zoom classes like the rest of us. She's just a normal kid. Just a normal kid living a normal life in the year of 2049 because we still didn't figure out the pandemic, so we just sent all the people who haven't gotten COVID up into space to keep them safe. A lot of weird things are kind of noticeable in the early parts of this movie. A couple of the ones that I want to specifically point out. This is obviously meant to be a throwaway thing. Like, this is a movie meant for kids, all right? When they're in the scene where they're in the classroom and the holographic teacher is teaching them about the I don't know, history of America, I guess. There's other stuff going on. Zenon's learning about her favorite rock band coming to the station soon, and so that's what the movie wants you to see. But the teacher in the background is talking about President Clinton's administration, and then you think, okay, yeah, it's the 90s. Of course, they'd be talking about the most recent president as like ancient history. Yeah, no, they're talking about President Chelsea Clinton. They make that very clear. Like her father, Chelsea Clinton became president. The thing is that I know that they scrubbed over this quickly for a very specific reason, because it's kids, it's school, you don't want to listen to schoolwork. But the holographic teacher says something very offhandedly and is talking about some of the positions that Chelsea Clinton had during her presidency, and I want to know about those. You don't get to hear what the teacher's talking about specifically, but like you can hear sometimes a little bit in the background, like President Clinton was very staunch on this or whatever.
President Chelsea Clinton has taken a forceful and unwavering stand in favor of the harvesting.
And I want to know that shit. I want to know what Chelsea Clinton was all about. I want to know that shit. Another weird thing that the future people apparently do is they record wake-up calls to themselves the night before they go to bed, so that when they wake up in the morning, it's their face telling them, like, hey, buddy, it's time to get up. Like, I can't really, I can't really imagine that shit all that much. Like, just the thought process of, hey buddy, good morning. It's almost dark and you're about to go to sleep, but I'm just here to tell you that you're fucking great. You're handsome and you're gonna seize the day. You're gonna have to go to work though. That's gonna suck. You're gonna have to go to meetings and send some emails, but you'll get through it. I believe in you. I love you. Have a good morning. I mean, possibly that could be a good thing. Possibly that could help people in their day-to-day lives and securing a sort of like steady motion through their days. But I don't get it. You might also notice watching this movie in the first few minutes or so that there's a few similarities that it has to the Star Trek series of this time, just in the way that the cinematography is, in the way that things are shot, the way that the filming is done, both the soundtrack that kind of plays and has different motifs throughout, but always coming back to that very same. Like, just that sound a lot. But yes, one other thing that we need to talk about the future that is 2049 is that there are lots of ways that the English language changes. There are some great new adjectives and great new ways that the hip kids describe things. The one that sticks the most is Zenon's catchphrase, Zetus Lapidus.
7:45. Cetus Lapidus! Cetus Lapidus!
Now, I'm saying Zetus Lapidus because that's what I hear. That's what I think it is. But in doing some research for this video, I came to realize that there's a bit of debate. You see, the Disney fandom wiki labels it as Cetus Lapidus, Cetus, Cetus Lapidus. Whereas Urban Dictionary and a lot of other places say it's Zetus, Zetus, Lapidus. Literally nowhere has a defined definition of what these words even mean. I think we can call it and spell it however we want, because all words are made up. But this one's especially made up because it doesn't mean anything, and it's just a placeholder for curse words. Now, Zenon is a precocious scamp. The movie really wants to like hammer in the early bits of this movie that Zenon is a precocious scamp, getting in trouble, being late to class, being late to get food, being late to things. Being late is bad. Disney Channel movies want to like hammer that home to kids right now. You being late is bad. All of the bad kids, all the kids that get in trouble are late to things, and that's what makes them bad. Punctuality is the closest thing to godliness, and that's what you need to strive for. But to really just hammer home Zenon's utter precociousness, she steals equipment and goes on a spacewalk. Really, just like there's like layers to this. It's like, oh, you were late to school. Darn. You stole trash from the recycling bins to make things. Such a little scamp. You stole scientific equipment and used it without permission in a very dangerous way. What a little scamp. The ramping here seems a bit off, but we'll move on from that. In this Act 1, we're basically laying the groundwork. What is laid is that, hey, Zenon is super pumped about her favorite rock and roll band, Microbe, coming to the station to perform. They're also going to have a contest where the winner of that contest can dance on stage with them. And of course, because it's a movie about a girl and the girl is the main character, Zenon wins this competition.
I won? I really won?
Big surprise.
While all of this excitement for the band coming is going on, the station is let to know that Mr. Wyndham, Mr. Parker Wyndham, the owner of the space station, is coming to check things over and see if everything's shipshape. And so everyone's asking Zenon, hey, could you be like 5 to 10% less precocious. And Zenon, to her credit, pulls out all the stops and like truly just goes full capitalist defense mode on it. Like, and that's to her credit because Mr. Wyndham is fucking weird. Like, you have this one scene where he's talking with her about the fucking band that she's like super happy about that they're coming to the station. Like, a lot of the other adults throughout the movie are just going to be like, Zenon's just being weird. She's just being weird. She doesn't trust adults. It's a weird little thing. It's like, I wouldn't trust an adult. Like you come up to me like, hey, Alex, how's it going, buddy? I hear you like D&D, huh? I do too. Like, no, that's very untrustworthy. That's an untrustworthy both way of acting and also way of controlling your eyes. But Mr. Wyndham also brings along Mr. Lutz, who is very obviously Minion Man. A very common Disney Channel movie archetype is you have the bad guy, and then you have the Minion Man. The Minion Man is normally smaller and more mouse-like, and an asshole. And so while Zenon thinks that Mr. Wyndham and his very strange eye-blinking patterns are weird, she then decides to follow around his little minion man and catches him trying to break into a computer room. After leading him away, she discusses this with some friends, and everyone's like, don't worry about it. It's just, it's Mr. Lutz. He's a little minion man. Not gonna be What could a little minion man do? Well, cut forward a few minutes, Mr. Lutz, the little minion man, successfully breaks into the computer room and does something with a disc. He puts a disc in a thing, and then he takes a disc out of a thing. And then Zenon, after seeing this, is also now trapped in the computer room. Trying to get out of the computer room, she calls the security guards on her, and she gets taken to the principal's office or the commander's office of the station. Also, in all of this, Mr. Lutz drops the disc, and Nebula finds it, apparently not knowing what it is. This will be important later. So Zenon is taken to the station commander's office, and the station commander and her parents are super pissed. It's the worst. And Zenon tries to make them understand that everything's weird, that Mr. Lutz is weird, and Mr. Wyndham is weird, and everything's strange. But you now have to learn a new thing about Disney Channel movies that if you haven't seen them before. There's this new little cool thing called All Children Are Liars. That is one of the most common things for Disney Channel movies, I swear to God. I get that Zenon, like the movie's like, yeah, Zenon's precocious and she's late to things and she's bad and she's done bad things. So that's why no one trusts her. And I go, okay, fine. But like, you'd think there'd be a little bit of back and forth. No. Disney Channel movies love to do the thing where all adults are like, excuse me, how old did you say you were? Not 18, huh? Well, then that must mean you're a liar. You're a dirty lie. Truth? But yes, since Zenon is deemed a liar and everything is her fault and everything is bad, Zenon is punished by being sent down to Earth. Earth, which has only been described in this movie up until now as stinky, disease-ridden, and bad. She is sent back down to Earth to live with her aunt, who is afraid of space travel, which is the only reason why she is on Earth and not on the wonderful space station. This ends Act 1, and now we go into Act 2. So upon Zenon getting shipped off down to Earth to live with her aunt, we start to learn what Earth is really like in the year 2049. And it's fucking weird, okay? So Zenon arrives, and it's like, shit, her bones can't withstand the change because she's been in space since she was 5. Did anyone think of maybe training her for the shift in gravity? No, fuck it, no. Welcome to Earth, bitch. Drown. But yes, after coming down to Earth, Zenon tells Mr. Lutz and Mr. Wyndham that they're bad men and that she'll be watching them. And then she flips her hair dramatically, revealing the disc that Nebula found and turned into an earring. Cool, right? Also, one tiny little joke, just like before we completely leave the space station. On one of the doors in the space station, there's just this little placard that says "Warning: Outer Doors." And to my knowledge, normally warning signs are like "warning," and then they like describe the thing that they are warning you from, like "warning: high voltage," "warning: high temperature," like that kind of shit. So it's like "warning: door." Door. Now that Zenon is on Earth and Mr. Lutz and Mr. Wyndham know that she has the disc, they start to worry. But don't worry, you don't get to worry about that. That's later stuff. Zenon now gets to experience Earth along with her aunt. One of the first things that she experiences is that all other cars other than VW Bugs have been banned. There are no other cars in this universe other than VW Bugs. Zenon goes out to lunch with her aunt upon arriving on Earth, and we get introduced to the Earth Kids. Let's do a Earth Kid roundup. First off, you have Matt. He has 2 lines. He is ignorable. You have Andrew, the smart kid. You can't tell it from most of the times you meet him until they just like, hey, this one's the smart one, but he's the smart one. You have bitch. I don't know. I could look up her name. I think it's like Margie or something. I'm gonna call her bitch because that's all she is this entire movie. She contributes one thing. I'll point out that one thing later. But for the majority of the movie, she's a bitch. And then there's Greg. Greg is the love interest. That is Greg's redeeming factor. Also, Greg is one of the few kids who's able to, like, put things together and, like, connect dots, which is an important quality, and I'm proud of him for having it. So, while Zenon is hanging out with her new cool Earth friends and getting all acquainted with Earth, all the while, Greg, like, from the point where you first see Greg, and then, like, I think 5 whole minutes worth of screen time, he doesn't say anything until Zenon falls into the pool, and his immediate reaction to her falling into the pool is to go, "Hey!"
Hey!
Greg's a weird one. Especially, like, the point of his staring was, like, so weird to me because it's just like, okay, every scene he's in, he's staring. It's because he's in love. But they went so far as to, even when he isn't in focus, when he's in the frame, but even out of focus, he's still staring. He's just staring at her. Dedication to the craft. That's the kind of acting we like to see. So while Zenon is still getting accustomed to life on Earth, there's this minor little subplot where apparently Zenon's aunt's home gets broken into and actual crimes are committed, and there is the very high likelihood that Mr. Wyndham and Mr. Lutz are trying to find the disc by any means necessary, but this is a secondary subplot. Not exactly needed because we're currently in the Disney Channel movie portion called the director really wanted to make a rom-com and didn't want to get stuck with child actors, and so he's just going to have to deal with that however he can. We have to go back to our main plot, which is, did you know that Greg also has hobbies? Hobbies like being able to type on the computer really fast, and he pets horses. And so, with Greg finally bringing us back to the plot of like, hey, did you know that I can hack into financial documents about companies, which is a thing that Greg can do. Maybe that just comes with how fast he can type, because damn, he can type. So Greg finds out that there's maybe a reason why Wyndham wants the station to be bad, and so Zenon figures out that, hey, maybe the disc is a bad thing, and she realizes this because Greg tells her, like, hey, did Mr. Lutz start acting weird when you did the hair thing? Maybe that's because you showed him the disc. And like Greg puts together the things that Zenon saw for Zenon. What a champ. What a fucking champ. I love Greg. He's the only one who does anything. Well, Greg isn't the only one who does anything. We have to give credit to our next boy. That's right, he's back. You saw him once, and now he's about to show you how amazing he is. Because Greg gives the disc to Andrew, and Andrew figures out, through destroying his own computer, that the disc contains a nanovirus that self-replicates and destroys computer systems that it's uploaded to. He destroys his own computer, and then he shows Zenon and Greg on one of the school computers, which, if he hadn't have, he then goes into this thing of, I deactivated it, and I have actually turned it into an undo switch, because fucking Andrew's amazing. He's tech genius boy here. But if he hadn't deactivated it, it's just like, hey guys, I gotta show you this. So the thing you gave me, it's a virus. Let's put it in the school computer to see what happens. Let's make all the computers in the school blow up, which would be a very, precocious scamp Zenon thing to do. But yes, Greg comes up with not only a way to deactivate, but completely undo switch the entirety of the nanobotic virus. While we're talking about technology and viruses and things that could be very dangerous for your computer, I'd like to talk to you about this video's sponsor, VPN company. That's right. There isn't one yet that's agreed to do this. I don't have a company yet that's been like, hey, we'll sponsor you, because I have less than 2,000 subscribers. I don't think there's a VPN company that's going to do it. But if a VPN company was to sponsor me, they'd have a sponsored segment like this, in which I say things like, hey, you could have a VPN that protects your data, and that also doesn't slow down your internet connection, and is also is used by the government, and you can get a discount on it if you use my code Greg, because Greg is the best character in this movie. Yes, this is a bad bit, but it's my bit and I own it. So yeah. Zenon, upon learning that this is a virus, and that's what Mr. Lutz was doing, and all the little dots are finally connecting in her mind, we're finally able to call her parents on the space station and be like, Mom, Dad, everything going bad up there? If it is, then that's because of the virus that Mr. Lutz put up there, and you guys need to trust me and let me come back up there so that I can give you the antivirus and save the space station. To which her parents lie to her, say no, everything's fine, blame her for wanting to get back in time for the rock concert, and then tell her to enjoy her time down there. Because Zenon for 5 seconds forgot that she is a child, and thus a liar, and will never be trusted. Zenon then decides that she needs to try and find a way to get back up to the space station. In steps Mr. Lutz, who agrees to send Zenon to the space station if she gives him the disc. Greg, the voice of reason, steps in and says, hey, you might want to get that in writing. Smart. And so Mr. Lutz writes down and promises that Zenon will get to the space station if he gets the disc. To which Greg steps in again and says, hey, maybe don't give him the disc until you get on the jet back to the space station. To which Zenon says, no, you gotta trust Mr. Lutz here. And gives him the disc, to which Mr. Lutz immediately destroys the note that he wrote and takes the disc. But the disc wasn't the real disc. Zenon, being the precocious little lying scamp that she is, swapped it out for a fake disc that has a gif of her popping out of a jack-in-the-box. And so now she has to find a way back up to the space station. She calls up to Nebula to get her a connection, a cargo ship that she can get back up to the space station with, just to get there, to save everyone. And then she doesn't. She's not able to do it. And everyone's sad that they missed the cargo shuttle. and everyone is just, it's feeling rough. And that's when Bitch steps in and delivers the one piece of helpful advice that she has to offer. Microbe, and by connection, Protozoa, the frontman of Microbe, is going to the space station. And all Zenon has to do is just get on whatever ship is taking them up there. So, Zenon decides to go to the launch of Protozoa's shuttle to meet Protozoa and get on their shuttle. She gets there, gets backstage. It's only somewhat awkward with the knowledge I have now as an adult. But Zenon is able to successfully get on the shuttle. Aunt Judy also is able to get on the shuttle accidentally, trying to save Zenon. And Zenon is able to trap Mr. Lutz and Mr. Wyndham, who are also trying to get her off the shuttle, in the cargo bay. Might possibly be crime. That might be a crime. We are leaning swiftly away from precociousness. However, Zenon, once she gets to the space station, once again forgets that she is a child and cannot be trusted, and goes to speak to the commander, who doesn't believe her and locks her in his office. Luckily, Nebula is able to get them out of the office. Zenon rushes to the main computer room to save the day, to save hundreds of lives. And if you thought at the beginning of this that the whole, like, crux, the stakes of this movie was going to end with a child saving thousands of lives before a space station plummets to the Earth, I'm right here with you. I was, even rewatching this, I completely forgot that this was what the stakes of this movie led up to. So, you know, we're on the same boat together. But Zenon is still not trusted until the absolute last second. And at the absolute last second possible, saves the day. Injects the undo switch to the virus, and saves everyone on board the space station. And at the end, we get a music video. Now, one tiny thing about this music video is I want you to listen to a little bit of this song. They say for the entirety of this movie that Protozoa is a rock and roll band. They are a rock band. They don't sound like a rock band. I feel like they wanted this to be a boy band because we're in the fucking 90s. Like, this is NSYNC time. This is Backstreet Boys time. But I think they wanted it like, no, it's not a boy band. It's not pop music. It's rock and roll. It's rock and roll. And so it's rock and roll. This song that you're hearing right now, this is rock and roll in the year 2049. But yes, that is Zenon, Girl of the 21st Century. It's a fucking weird movie, but that's what I love about Disney Channel original movies. They were some strange stuff back when I was a kid. And even now, even though, like, yes, it was, I would like to say cringe-inducing, it was still a lot of fun to rewatch and, like, just go through the process of thinking about what these movies are now. But yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for watching. If you want to see more of me and hear more of my weird thoughts on things, I stream over at twitch.tv/th3alexmana. I stream there every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And with that, I will, I don't know, I'll stare at you for a little bit until the editor chooses to end this.